Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Well, we're going to find out if that dash fits any better in the back there. Gone through all my trim. I did have it all laid out all over the floor. And everything is accounted for, except for one piece that's missing. And it's an upper door trim. For the rear door, left-hand side, it's a curved piece of stainless steel. In the original video, when I got the car, it was missing. But I thought I had it in the trunk. I found the trunk through the first disassembly, but apparently not. Anyway, let's jump into it, see if we can get that dash in there. So yeah, I wonder if leaving this thing under some pressure so it could dry out, if it actually did anything. Can't be any worse. Hopefully it's laid down a little more flat and it fits better in the back of the 64. It stayed nice and tight here. It's actually really good. This still looks a little high on this side here, but let's throw this thing in and see what we got. Well, ding dong. Would you look at that? You can see the edge of the metal the whole way. And it is below. All below. The two corners are up a little tiny bit. But remember, they get the trims that I can push that down, no problem. They'll hold that down easily. That is good. I am liking that. And that little bit of space that's there, the rubber seal, of course, will go on here. It'll take that up. You know what? I have it somewhere. I have the sample piece. Just give me a minute here. All right, I got my samples pulled out here. Forget about the front window. But any other window seal you need for a vehicle that fits glass into metal, these are guys to go with. They have listings for all. Chevy for sure. Every Chevy is listed in here, of course. Almost every Ford. You know, all those in the Dodge. But nothing under the Chrysler name for the Newports and stuff. They have one that says front window. Not even close. They sent it to me. Maybe it's a DeSoto, maybe there's a difference, but definitely does not fit the B body. Does say the C body, but is not the B body. But I did strike out on the rear. They had, these are all, this page here is all the different style Universal Chrysler. So basically every Chrysler made for the rear windows used one of these seals. And I was surprised at how many there is. I guess you call them gaskets more than seals, but there's a lot of them. Now this is a chunk of the original, and I tried to bend it back, and of course, it just it broke apart. There was no flex to this at all. But see that shape? It's so weird. It's a very strange shape. But look what they sell. Look at that. Whoop. Whoa. Like identical, other than this little tab being thinner. That is the exact piece for the rear glass. Now let's put it in and see what happens. There we are. Exactly what we want. So the seal is tight. The bottom doesn't go down anymore. It just touches the bottom here, right in the corner where it has a little dip coming out, but it has to stay out far enough because I need to get onto these clips for my trim. And that little finger just sits on the edge of the dash. And you know what? After all that trouble, I wonder if that would have been strong enough to hold it down. I should have got this out. I just thought about it tonight that I have this piece, but that is perfect. Now the gap's a little bigger on the other side. Let's go see how it fits. Now this, to me, clearly looks like the bigger gap. And we're at this way. Get in there. Oh, it's just at the edge. But that's good. Looking from the back, that's going to close it in just nicely. And remember, I'm going to have cloth I'm going to put over top of this, so it'll be a little bit bigger again. But that is going to be perfect. Then my glue will hold that down just that little bit. And that'll be her. So that is it. That is the seal I need. I just need 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'll probably order like 20 feet of it. I don't want to be short. It is sold by the foot. So I'll measure it out, get a little more precise measurement on it. But I'm pretty excited that I can get that for the back. I got the one for the front. I got all my door seals. Got my trunk seal. All those little piddly things like that. That was probably my biggest worry of this build, is finding all this stuff. And I got good news about the ceiling, or the ceiling panel, or whatever you want to call it. The interior panel of the 64 as well too. So during my lunch today, got to do a little research, and I come across a company called OC Automotive Carpets. And they will make the exact roof panel for this, for a 1964 Newport 300 Windsor, 4-door, with the B pillar, and to kick it off, rear drops. That piece that comes down there is an actual part for the B body itself, and it's got the 5 loops already sewed into it for all my suspension, and it's got a full list of directions how to do it, which actually is quite surprising because a lot of it is glued on. The whole front and the whole back is glued on. It shows me how to work my side panels in, which is gonna be rough because it's a little rotted out in the front, but we'll work on that. $250. Now, that's way better than a couple of the other prices I was looking at. And it does seem like a bit for a piece of cloth, but this is the thing. Reading online about this, the first thing they said, do not use a product that stretches when it's hot. That makes sense. I want this to go on when it's warm, so it's a little bit taut, and when it gets cool, it stays tight. When it gets warm, it stays the same. Suspension holds it up. The second thing was, it's insulated and perforated for the heat. So I am putting a liner on this. There wasn't originally a liner. You can see kind of what's left to it in between the bars here. But I will be putting a liner on here for heat and sound. But it comes with it already in it. And like I said, it's pre-cut. And it's 2 inches longer on every side. So you can, something to grab onto, because you do got to still stretch it tight. And with all that, it comes with 2 sleeves that I can cover the sun visors with, which I thought was unbelievable because I have my sun visors here. But as you can see, they've seen better days. But the metal, it's barely even rusty inside. They're perfect. So it comes with 2 sleeves and enough material left over that I can cover 2 complete wind visors or sun visors. So really, $250. By the time I try to stretch material, cut material, put those loops in it, probably do it wrong 2 or 3 times, trying to figure out how to sew it properly. Really, that's not a bad deal at all. I think that's a pretty good smoking deal. So just finished up some measuring. 14 feet. Should give me 1.5 feet to spare. Now, the last time I checked, I think it was like $14.75 a foot. For me, having that little piece to throw away, that's insurance, just to make sure I didn't run myself short. So yes, that'll be perfect. So I'll have to get that coming now. Start looking for some material to cover this in. I'd love to get this thing kind of getting ready to go in there, ready to go. Have to throw some sheets down, of course, once I get it. But have this in. I'll make sure and watch this over the next few days that stays where it should be. So that seal, cloth, and that's done. That's good. We are still making our seat covers. That's going to be exciting. Found my roof panel, which is going to have the side drops. We can make the little squares that you see that are there right now. That's not a problem. Door seal or trunk seal is good. Whew. We have the whiskers for the inner one of these. We're rolling. We're rocking and rolling. We have everything we need now. It's just Paul's skill and ability to try to get this together. But I still have a few more things I want to look for, a few more things I want to figure out. This is still a problem. I need a 1/2 inch along this edge. I need to see if I can glue something or get something that's going to go in there just nice so you can't see it. Or maybe something I can bring just to the seam. That's another thing I got to think of. Glass-wise, it might be a hard bite. $1,700 for a windshield for this thing. Yeah. There's not really going to be any way of getting around that. That's going to be the biggest kicker. And wheels and tires. But that's down the road. But anyway, that's all I'm going to get for you guys. I'm still going to go over some stuff here. I'm going to start cleaning some things up. I want to get my suspension bars cleaned up to make sure they're not bent when I took them out, that they actually fit where they go, and so I can see where they're going. Get that organized a little more as well, too. Feeling good. I'm feeling much better. This thing, she's going to be cruising this summer for sure. For sure. Yes, we have a Chinook coming. Oh, thank God. Well, half yes, half no. Tomorrow is supposed to jump like ridiculous amounts. We're going to be above freezing tomorrow, Celsius. Today, woke up to another nice minus 30. It was like 29 to 30K winds, which is bringing it down to minus 40 to minus 44 for a wind chill. Ridiculous. Blowing snow. My driveway drifted. I plugged in the tractor. But you know what? I still have to sit out there and that to do it. It's an open station. Not going to happen. So I left everything, and really praying that Mother Nature does bring this Chinook. The downside to that is I'm going to have a wicked headache tomorrow and probably the day after. It takes me a couple of days for my brain to equalize the pressure. So while it's equalizing tomorrow, tonight I'm concentrating here, and I figured it out. I finally figured out where that little triangle piece goes. Now, first off, I want to thank all the viewers. You guys are awesome. I've had guys send me pictures in my email, videos in my email, videos on here of different 1964 Chryslers around. And you know what? I didn't realize how many different trim options there are. Though, the videos that they found were 1964 Chrysler Newports. I don't know what to do. I really want to know what this car is, because if you're a Chrysler guy, you're looking at that. That's a Newport front grille. That is what that is. Newport front grille. 361 Newport. But I had dual mirrors, 3-speaker stereo, rear defrost. Okay? I have an extra cigar, and it is a cigar holder lighter in the back seat. Okay? I have the heater, the upgraded heater option, right in the dash. It says Chrysler 300, not Newport, but Newport grill. This emblem that was here isn't the star. It was the Chrysler symbol, or the Chrysler emblem for the Newport. I don't know what I have. The only thing I know for sure is it came smashed in the front end at some point. New fender, whole new front fender and front skirt all together the whole way around. You know, it's all green. Not original for the car. Could have been off a Newport. Pretty sure it was, for one thing. But the things I do have going for me is the extra accessories that are in this car. I have the emblem made into the dash that says 300, and there was an option for a white 300 with a red stripe down the center of it. But the biggest differences are the rear, the rear trims, the way they come together. The Newports had like a big flaring fin that comes up. These are two separate loops that go right around the big cast piece on the end. I don't know. I really wish I could figure out what this car is. The serial number on the dash and the one under the hood, those are the ones I submitted to Chrysler originally. They didn't have any information for me. But, on to this. Now, this is a combination of a couple things. One, my stupidity or my stubbornness of not trying too many new things, and people mentioning of what where this might go. And of course, I took this piece on every curve, every arch, everywhere over the whole car. I try to figure out where that goes in at. And one of the videos a guy sent me actually showed this kind of a trim up here on the door. But again, for a Newport, mine didn't have that. Mine was just that straight one piece up and that's it. But there was some that had this piece kind of something like that. Not the case. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to start piecing all this together because the people that mentioned about that being part of the kick plate, that made sense to me. Even though I couldn't get it to fit. So I was down here. Don't mind all the dust getting all dirty on my new car, but these parts need to be cleaned up. So I always had this set up and all my parts organized the best I could. Lining up holes just right there. Trying to figure out how this stuff would go. And this fits so good together. All the holes line up. There you go. Hole, hole, hole. All the holes line up. This big ugly gap here. So of course I'm down here and it's like there's no way because it just gets even worse. Not even close. So I can't figure it out. It's like I'm touching the seat, so that's where it goes. But then this is what happened. I come over here. I'm going to assemble the other side as well. And I go to put this one in. It's like it don't fit. That side's touching the seat and the metal. So it can't go that way anymore. But I realized like something's going on here. I can't fit it in. It's too big. So I took this off for a second and I was like, wait a minute here. Look how thin that is, edges compared to that. And when I really look at this, that's a big gap in here. What would happen if I switched these two? So I took all the pieces from here, minus the kick plate, because that definitely fits here. But I took the pieces, swapped them around. The hole lines up, the hole lines up. So they're dead center both sides. So that's what got me off in the first place. But then up front here, this comes nice and close to the pillar. This side is now nice and tight to the metal. And I got more room on the seat to bring it this way. So now, if I get the kick plate, put it in. Got the hole lined up. Hole lined up there as well. There's one more right down there at the front. That's all lined up. But if I take the little triangle piece now, you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to have to hold it here. But there it is. It fits just down to the inside of that piece. I'm holding on. It's actually supposed to be on the inside of this, so it would fit that last little bit. But there it is, covering up that big ass hole that I always worried about. There we go. Mystery solved. Only lost a few brain cells over that one. It turned out pretty darn good. I had fun yesterday, zipping around to a couple stores, trying to work out some solutions to a few things, mostly future projects, a little bit for this. But this was the main plan. So I've been out here this morning, finishing off my painting and cleaning, and these actually turned out really good. Now, this piece here, the more I wire wheeled, the less metal was left behind. Really though, it doesn't really matter. These fully get hidden by the carpet. For the most part, it's all hidden, number one. You'll never see it. But for the most part, it's just to keep a profile. And like I said, so I can run a wire or whatever I need underneath there. One side gets one little tiny wire, and the other side, the left-hand side, gets a complete set of wires running down it. Now this hole is not used, but I'm going to have to make another hole, probably somewhere in here or down back here a little ways to help hold it on a little better. The other one is like perfect. It's mint. Actually, the whole thing is perfect. There wasn't a rust hole or anything in it, but turned out pretty good. Now, getting these pieces cleaned up, we can get a better look at how this holds that headliner in. Now, these teeth are supposed to be pointed up. Now, most of them are, as you can see, but some of them have been bent over because there's a tool that you use to help shove the material in. I think it's called chinking, just like when they used to do the panels and on old ships and stuff like that. They'd push the moss and stuff in between the boards. It's kind of the same premise. Once these are on, there's a little bit of a gap left here, and you force the material up under it, and as it tries to come back out, it hooks on these teeth, and it helps hold it in. So that's going to work pretty good. Now, as for the larger ones, they are, for the most part, good, except for this much of the end of this one, and basically the same on both sides. But this is going to be a non-issue after I looked at it and realized, how much space there is. I did set one in the 64. There is more than enough gap room for me to easily put a new end on these. These pockets I do need, though. These are what help hold the suspension bars for the ceiling. So I do need those pockets, which is good because even though this one stops here, I'm sure that little bit of distance is not going to make a difference in the material being held up. And this is going to be really easy to make. I watched a video where a guy just used a grinder and he cut out little holes, little grooves along a piece of metal, and he did the entire length. Now, someone here this morning mentioned saw blades. Too fine. These are extremely far apart, and I did see another video where a guy basically did use a saw blade, and they were like, so there'd be like 2 more teeth in here. It doesn't grab. There's not enough. It's too much of a surface. It makes almost like a flat surface along the whole liner, and it doesn't grab in there very good. So I'll be making it myself, and I'm just going to, this is still good material. This is still good material. I'll just rivet it on. I'll put some extra screws. I'm going to use some flat pan head self-tapping screws. There is quite a bump here. And so as long as I'm below this bump, when I put it on, I'm not going to see any difference in material coming over, lapping over top of it. I did stop at JD Performance in Calgary, checked out some headliner material, and it's quite puffy, the same kind of stuff that they're using on the ones that are made here. So it's going to hide any of those little screw heads anyway. I'm having a super, super exciting evening here. Bending all these teeth. Every one of those teeth you see. Just making them kind of even. Pretty close to even anyway. So they're all at least sticking up so they can grab the material. Over half of them are lower than the higher half. So I've gone through just a pair of needle nose pliers, nothing fancy. And I've got them all raised up so you can see. So they're all going past the edge. Ooh, that guy there's a little high, but it'll work. So I got the 2 small pieces done. And now I got the 2 large ones. And if you look, you can see 2 there, 1 there, a couple there. There are not many that are high. They're all been kind of bent over. Some of that probably was me because I was a little rough taking it apart, not really knowing what the purpose of this thing was. But what did I got ahead of me? Pliers, tees, and bending teeth. Well, all the teeth are done. Now, on to the next prep for the 64. So I have all kinds of this underlayment. Different strands, different colors, different, I guess, squishiness or texture levels or whatever. I've got a ton of it in here. And I've been saving this for my work. It comes in press boxes sometimes, and also when they want to protect something really good. This stuff is all wrapped around things, and it's people just, I guess, forever has been throwing this in the garbage. Now, a 1/4 inch thick would have been awesome. This is about 3/16, so I'm actually going to do this in 2 layers. And what this is going to be a little bit of sound deadening and a little bit of insulation from the heat. It's going to be on the ceiling. It's going to be inside. I don't know would you call that the C pillar? If that's the A and the B, is that the C? But it's going to be on the inside of that as well too. And it was originally there. What was left to it after the mice chewed it. It'll be behind the seat. It'll also be under the rear dash. Everywhere it was originally when the car was new. Now all of it is too small lengthwise. I don't know why, but every time I get them, it's basically 36 by 36 inch chunks. That's just the way it comes. So they must have a roll that's 1.5 meters wide or whatever it is, and they just cut it off in pieces like that. So I've gone into the car for the roof panels first, and I need 3 pieces. So starting at the front here, 54 inches long by 14 inches wide, 54 by 21, and 54 by 21. So my plan is to cut this stuff up so that I'll do like a small piece and a long piece to make the 54 inches. And then I want to double this up, make it twice as thick. So I'll do the same thing again, except for the next piece will cross over and join the 2 pieces together. And then I'll glue the other piece again on the other end. Twice as thick, seams are going to be spread wide apart. I have the 3M spray adhesive. So I'll cut these pieces all out into the appropriate sizes. I'll spray adhesive them all together, and when they're dry, we'll get the spray adhesive on the roof and a layer on this. It's kind of like a contact cement. You let it tack up, and then we'll stick it on, and we'll roll it in the best we can by hand. I don't have a roller. A little roller would be awesome, but I just think I'll use a smooth piece of plastic. These dimensions for widths are just a little bit big, so once I get it close, I'll be able to go in with my knife and cut it out just like I was doing vinyl floor. And that'll make it a little quieter, and also keep it a little cooler in there when the sun's beating down on that roof. You know what? That's it for tonight. I got four pieces cut, 21 inches. And every single piece is exactly 39 inches long. Actually, 39 inches and a quarter. So obviously it's a roll of this stuff. And they just cut it off and wrap things up as need be. So I'll continue on with that for the next video. But yeah, it is Sunday night and it is almost 8:30. I'm surprised I didn't get a text message or a knock on my door here from a lady. Anyway, gotta go in. I love you all. Catch you again tomorrow.